thank you all for joining us. So today, of course, I'm going to give you a little presentation on how to get content marketers interested in link building. So my name is David Bain, as Alexandra said. I'm Head of Growth for Analytics SEO. I'm also host for a show called thisweekinorganic.com. So that's a show we do every Friday at 4 o'clock. So you can find out more about me there. But what we are going to explore today is why SEOs and content marketers don't talk to each other, why focusing on why will help SEOs to communicate more effectively, and then the third part, the big part, is what I'm going to focus on, is how to encourage content marketers to love links. And there's a hint about that. It's not called link building anymore, but I'm going to leave that as a teaser to the end. But starting off with a little look at the current perception of SEO. So this is the quote by a lady called Rebecca Lieb. She appeared in one of my previous shows, and she said, I conducted research interviewing about 70 CMOs, and she asked them what the priorities were within content marketing. Only one of them mentioned SEO, so I found that a bit scary. She went on to say that senior marketers have their eyes on bright, shiny objects, very much at the expense of fundamental toolkits. And she also said that she's seeing that content marketing copywriters who have absolutely no training or background in SEO are actually trying to practice online SEO. And she said it's time to marry the two practices back together again, and I completely and utterly agree with that there. So it should be like this, in my opinion. It should be SEO, content, and social, all three, all swimming along nicely together, all three best of friends. But unfortunately, it's not always quite like that. It's actually often more like this. So this was an article by a guy called Marcus Sheridan. He's a great content marketer, does a lot of good marketing, but the actual article itself says content marketing overtakes SEO as Google's quest to be human continues. And I don't like the fact that SEO is positioned as something different compared with content marketing. It's all one, and it really should be perceived as that. So SEO is dead, isn't it? You'll probably have seen lots of quotes like this in different forums out there. Here's one that says, I'm beginning to believe that search engines are dead-end technology, and fretting over where your site comes up is a big waste of time. Perhaps that's a familiar quote that you might have seen somewhere. Well, this one actually comes from a website called the Online Advertising Discussion List, but this is 1997 it's from. So we're talking about a long, long time ago, 18 years ago as we're recording this. So you see those kind of quotes all the time, and that's even before this happened. So it's even before 1998 when Google incorporated. So that's how long ago indeed it was. And if you just search for quotes in relation to SEO dead, you'll find loads of them out there. Here's an interesting tweet saying, if you do SEO for a living, you'll be out of business or irrelevant within 3 years. But let's have a look to see when this quote was from. It's from 2008. So that's from 7 years ago as well. So we're 4 years past SEO being dead, and there's a whole lot of us that are working full-time in SEO still. So it certainly is far from dead. And content marketers are starting to slowly wake up to the fact that SEO is indeed not dead, and it's still around, and it still certainly is going to benefit what they do. But of course, content marketing and SEO are generally two very different mindsets. You have your arty content marketers and you have your scientific SEOs. It's not necessarily the same for everyone. You get some SEOs that are a little bit more creative, but by and large, SEOs love delving into data, and content marketers love things to look pretty and create content that resonates with themselves and people like them. And what are the other differences between SEOs and content marketers? Well, there's quite a few of them. SEOs tend to be obsessed with everything, certainly website rankings. Content marketers get emotional. They get focused on delivering something from their heart, not necessarily something fairly scientific. SEOs are tunneled vision. They can only think of the one thing. No matter where they are, sometimes they'll be thinking about things like getting more backlinks to their site, optimizing their page speed perhaps just a little bit more. That's the kind of things that they focus on all the time. But content marketers have a low attention threshold, so they tend to get distracted. So they intend to focus on one thing, but then there's so many different other things around them that can distract them. And SEOs can't stop. You know, there's no off switch. They'll perhaps finish work, they'll be working during the daytime, they'll get back home, and then they'll keep on going. And then because they'll come up with another new thought process, or perhaps a new set of keywords that they can aim for over the coming few months. And then content marketers finally can't stick with the one thing. They get into one project, they have their heart in it, but perhaps they get distracted, and they just can't retain that focus quite often. Of course, this is all a bit of a generalization, a bit of fun, but it is quite true that content marketers and SEOs generally have different mindsets. But we need to wake up to the fact that we can really help each other. Content marketing done properly, of course, relies on SEO, and SEO done properly really relies on content marketers to actually implement all their different ideas. So let's have a look at the definition between them both. What is content marketing? Well, according to this definition, content marketing is the creating and distribution of relevant and valuable content with the objective of driving profitable customer action. Let's have a look at the definition of SEO. It's the process of affecting the visibility of a web page or a website in search engines' natural or unpaged search results. What's the big difference here between these definitions? Look at the bottom of the content marketing definition. It says with the objective of driving profitable customer action. That is the big issue. The fact that SEO tends to focus on the techniques, how to actually do the thing, but content marketing is a bit more objective focused, and that's what SEO needs to get better at. SEO needs to get better at being more ROI, objective focused, to actually explain to people what SEO is about, and certainly explain to content marketers what SEO is about. We don't make it easier for ourselves, so that little joke on the screen explains, you know, how SEOs explain SEO to other people. We make it too complicated. We try and say too much, perhaps because we're too passionate about the subjects, rather than actually thinking about things from other people's perspective. And we can be worse in front of clients as well. So you know, quite often we've seen a new passionate SEO appear in front of a client for the first time, and then their manager thinking, well, okay, that's the last time I'm going to do that. They just got too nerdy, too focused on canonical tags and hreflang and whatever else they discussed, rather than actually talk about the things that resonated with the client. This is a video that I've found very valuable for quite a few things to do with mindset, but also to do with actually explaining SEO. And there's a video on YouTube, you can check this out. It's called "People Don't Buy What You Do, They Buy Why You Do It." And it's by a guy called Simon Sinek. He did it for TEDx. So if you haven't seen this video, you should check it out. He uses a great example of Apple and how Apple position their different, and one of the reasons why they're actually such an outstanding business is because they position themselves different to the vast majority of other businesses out there. So check out this video. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So, question, how can we encourage content marketers to love links? Well, the answer, of course, is in that video. We need to help them explain what SEO achieves and not what SEO does. SEO, the end result is, of course, the ROI, the increase in traffic to the site, the actual financial value of the visits, and that's what we need to do a better job at doing. And there's quite a few different ways that we can go about improving that, and I'd like to explore a few of them just in a little bit. But first of all, how do content marketers actually choose what they write about? Well, at the moment, it's multiple guess. Maybe I'm being a little bit facetious here, but it's quite often, this is what I feel like writing at the moment. This might be a good idea due to an internal team brainstorm. Not a lot of science behind it, just a little bit of a reactive decision there. What I'd like to encourage SEOs to do is to tell content marketers a little bit about SEO, and I prefer explaining SEO in this way. For instance, you've got the referring domain to begin with, and you've got some pages that are currently ranking for your keyword phrases. So you've got your referring domain, the blue circle there, the pages in green, and the keywords that you're ranking for after that. Now you've also got a competitor domain as well, and you've got the competitor pages that are also ranking for these keyword phrases. However, you've also got the competitor pages that are ranking for other keyword phrases there, and these are the content marketing stroke link building opportunities for you to focus on. These are the opportunities that we're not actually ranking for at the moment. But before SEOs, direct content marketers, they need to do a better job at understanding their true total marketplace, because SEOs often actually focus on a few narrow areas of opportunity, and they don't necessarily define absolutely everything in terms of the opportunity out there. So let's have a little look at how we're doing that and how you could also do that as well. So I like this quote here. There are also unknown knowns. There are known knowns, and these are the things that we know, and there are also known unknowns. That is to say, there are things that we don't know, we know we don't know, and there are also unknown unknowns. You get what I mean there. Well, what this basically says is that there are opportunities that we're not even aware of the fact that they exist, and we need to do a better job of trying to push the boundary and find out content marketing opportunities that we're not actually aware of at the moment. Because a lot of SEOs at the moment target areas that are very, very niche and specific, and perhaps they're ranking for already, and they've targeted keyword phrases that are already ranking perhaps page 2, page 3, and they know that by pushing on those kind of keyword phrases, getting them up to page 1, they can get a fairly quick demonstrable result in terms of improving rankings, and that'll impact hopefully traffic on the website as well. However, it's not the whole opportunity out there. We can zoom out, and we can say that perhaps the SEO, the business, is actually only actively targeting perhaps the lower quarter there. They're not actually, maybe they are aware of other areas out there, but there's not enough resources, there's not enough focus on actually focusing on building content and building pages to target the other keyword phrases out there. But of course we can zoom out even further here, and these are the areas that SEOs, that content marketers, aren't even aware of the fact that they actually exist, and the content marketing opportunities are really out there and can drive traffic back to the core proposition. Perhaps the content isn't directly related to every single product or service that that business sells, but of course it can still drive traffic back to the original point, from having related content that's published out there, and that's where the total marketplace comes from. Now, as SEOs, we need to do a better job of, first of all, defining the total marketplace, the whole size of the opportunity that we can drive traffic from an organic perspective, and then breaking that down into natural clusters to define who really are the core opportunities in terms of target competitors, but also in terms of keyword phrases that are out there. So let's explore that in a little bit more detail, because we can use big data to encourage content marketers to love links. So what we do is, when we're exploring big data like this, we cast the net far and wide to begin with. And when we do that, you get lots of different domains. You obviously tend to get big domains like the BBC, like Wikipedia out there. This is a case study that we did on a website called Great British Chefs. And with this one, you can see there's a lot of food type websites, but there's also some big general websites that we'd expect to see out there as well. So that's the initial net casting there. And in terms of exploring the whole opportunity and defining it for content marketers, it's great to actually say the financial figure and percentage-wise how you're performing at the moment. Content marketers understand these kind of big figures. So rather than actually present them with a big spreadsheet of 50,000, 100,000 keyword opportunities, it's very, very important to define them, categorize them, and present them in a manner that really makes commercial sense. So what do we do to do that? Well, we actually split it down into 4 different areas, and that number 1, identifying core niche competitors. Number 2, analyzing the performance of existing keywords and pages. Number 3, suggesting new keywords for existing pages. And number 4, suggesting new keywords for new pages. So let's see how that actually looks on the graph as we split it out. So looking at the actual case study, GreatBritishChefs.com, you can see they're up there in the core niche competitors, and that's their core competition. We can see also powerful mainstream competitors that we've defined as well. Obviously, BBC, Wikipedia, YouTube out there as well. You've got The Guardian, so a big newspaper site. So perhaps they may be taking some traffic, but if people are looking for something very, very specific, perhaps it's niche recipes, perhaps actually it's to purchase food-related products, they're not necessarily going to go to one of these big websites. They're maybe going to be a bit blind to these websites to begin with and actually go for the websites that are ranked number 3, 4, 5 rather than your Wikipedia at number 1. So sometimes, although a Wikipedia might be ranking number 1, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to beat them. You just have to beat your nearest core niche competitor. So that's important to establish to begin with, exactly who your core niche competitors are. And often people in businesses think they know who their competitors are, but of course you might not necessarily be aware of every website out there that is your competitor. So it's important to do some independent crawling to actually define precisely who they are. Moving on to number 2, which is existing keywords and existing content. So with this quadrant, we've actually focused on quick ROI. You've got another box saying maintain ROI, another one saying low, no ROI, and another one saying long-term ROI. So let me just explain briefly what the 2 quadrants to the right-hand side mean, because those are the most important ones to define to begin with. And if you can define your data like this and explain it like this to content marketers, it really will make content marketers appreciate SEO, understand SEO, and understand the value of links because of it as well. So quick ROI, what's that? Well, that of course is your existing keywords, your existing content that is already ranking, but perhaps you're already ranking maybe only number 8 or number 9 on the first page. So the quick ROI opportunity is to increase the ranking of that. These are the keyword phrases and the clusters, stroke categories that are already ranking fairly well or have the potential to bring in a lot of traffic as well. So that's a good quick ROI box. Your long-term ROI will be your higher, more competitive keyword phrases that you're not ranking for at the moment that may actually drift towards your quick ROI if you do more work in your quick ROI section and enhance the authority of your domain name. Bottom right hand side, maintain ROI. So these are the keyword phrases that are important for you at the moment in terms of bringing in traffic. They're probably ranking for you at number 1, 2, or 3, something like that in Google. So you just need to keep an eye on that and make sure that those rankings are retained. So very important to actually be aware of exactly where you're getting your traffic from at the moment and not losing any of those opportunities as time goes by. Number 3, new keywords and existing content. So the quadrants here, long-term, high ROI, short-term, high ROI. So new keywords and existing content. So this is content that exists already in your website, but there's an opportunity to augment that content with new keyword phrases and have that content rank for more keyword phrases. So maybe you see the different terms there. You've got barbecue, jelly, you've got Brighton, strawberry. So there's the categories or different niches of keyword phrases that you're talking about there. So within those, you've probably got pages about specifically those types of things, and then you need to define which pages are more appropriate to actually be ranking, focusing on in terms of ranking for new keyword phrases. So you've got your short-term high ROI and you've got your long-term high ROI as well. So like before, your short-term is where you focus initially, and if you do that, and again if you enhance the authority of your domain name, that will move your longer-term ROI slowly towards your short-term ROI, and there perhaps will be some categories that stay in long term, that's fine. You might define that it's a really important long-term goal, so it's worthwhile spending some time on that as well. Then, of course, below that, you've got your short-term and your longer-term, but low ROI as well. So not very important to be focusing on, but important to be aware of. And number 4, new keywords and new content. So there always will be opportunities, I'm sure, on your website to add new content, to publish pages that don't exist already, to attract rankings for keyword phrases that you're not ranking for at the moment. So these will be the opportunities that your system has defined where you're not actually likely to have any opportunity to rank for these new keyword phrases with existing content. So you have to build new content. So you have to prioritize your new content, again, based upon short-term ROI. Very, very important to do that. So if you can define your content in these 4 different graphs for content marketers, it will be much more enticing for them rather than actually, again, receiving a big Excel document with lots of opportunities like that, because these content marketers, of course, tend to be visual rather than data-driven people and wanting an Excel spreadsheet in front of them. Now, once we define the true total marketplace, we can be much more confident at directing content marketers on the value of links. So what does that mean? Well, links add context to your content. So once we've done all this work to actually show content marketers, look, this is the opportunity, this is the ROI value of the opportunity, this is how much financially the current traffic is worth, and this is how much we can actually gain in addition to that by working on this additional content. So then they're more confident to listen to your recommendations. So then they're more open to actually see how SEO works, how links work. And I like this simple tool by TouchGraph, actually. So what you can do is you can touch out from a domain and see the related domains to that. And this is basically how Google works, of course, in the fact that Google draw relationships between different websites based upon links. And the more links that happen between 2 similar websites, the more confidence that Google has that these 2 sites are related to one another. So if there's a cluster of websites that link to each other, then Google can start to be fairly confident that these websites that are grouped together relate to one another. So that's links that add context to your content, and this is something that is important to cover with content marketers as well. Another thing that I like covering with content marketers is measuring the impact of link growth and removals over time, because quite often you can tie rankings to a piece of content that they've either updated or perhaps published for the first time, and then if you can actually show them the true positive impact that their work is having, then that's wonderful, because then you can get them motivated, you can get them excited about the fact that so much is actually happening. So this graph actually down here shows a couple of different websites, one not doing quite so well, one is the blue line doing a bit better, and that's the number of inbound links over time. So the top one is the website that hasn't done a whole lot of work on publishing new content, but already exists as a fairly authoritative domain name. The bottom one is a website that isn't quite so authoritative to begin with, but over time new content has been added to it, and over time, if you can see right to the end of it, just in the last few weeks, this site has actually become more popular in terms of number of inbound links than the other site there. And these little peaks and troughs in link building can quite often be applied to what's happening in terms of content. So there we go, a couple of little graphs for you there as well. A couple of things that you can pull out from that is things like if maybe you've got an advert that's appeared across your one site, so that's been perhaps even thousands of links to your site. So you've maybe had an advert that's appeared on other sites out there. Now that kind of thing can sometimes mean a reduction in the number of links. Then you can tie it back to performance and see why things have happened like that. And a sudden increase in links could be quite the same thing, but in the opposite way. It could be an advert that's appeared in the sidebar of a site that's generated thousands of links. Now, That's not from an SEO perspective, of course, something that you really want to happen. You want to be focusing on quality content and unique links from different pages, but quite often PR departments or other marketing departments can do different things. So you've just got to measure what's happening out there and see why things have happened, and then try and explain SEO to departments such as content marketing departments. But SEOs need to do a better job at highlighting why links are so important and how they impact rankings. So how do I define links? Well, I like saying that links are like shared secrets. Links are like recommendations between friends. So if you've got a blog post that's about a particular subject and you want to share other resources, you're sharing with your audience a shared secret. This is the thing that I love in relation to what I'm talking about, and I think you should take a look at this. A look at this as well. Links are also what people say about you when you're not in the room. Why I like calling link building like this is it's quite often the case that, or it certainly has been in the past, that you can artificially build links to a website, and it's not recommended because that's you in the room, that's you pushing yourself. But of course, if you leave the room, then people will actually either stop linking to you or say you're not worthwhile going to at all. So good links are what people say about you positively when you're not in the room. So, but let's have a think about how to actually get links for your site now. If asking for links isn't good, if building your own links isn't any good now, how do you actually get links? And how do you actually explain good ways of getting links to content marketers? Well, first of all, don't ask for links. Don't say in an email, "Can I have a link on your site, please?" or anything stupid like that, because of course they might even forward the email to a blogger or someone at Google, and it would be ridiculous for you to get a request like that published. So you absolutely don't want to be doing that. But you need to be monitoring, managing, and optimizing your existing links. There could be some existing links that you have that perhaps aren't prominent enough from a partner, and they'd be quite happy enough for you to actually alter the link slightly in a slightly more SEO friendly manner. Maybe they've given a no follow link where it could actually just as easy be a do follow link. So you can manage existing links a little bit more. You can monitor links that disappear and links that suddenly grow, and you can of course monitor negative SEO, and hopefully you won't have an issue with that, but some people do have that. So monitoring of links is very, very important, and you need to just touch on why that's important with content marketers. But of course, the main thing with regards to content marketing is to publish great quality original content that people really, really want to share. And if you do that, then you'll actually change from focusing on link building to what I call link fostering. So link fostering is the way to go. Don't focus on link building. Focus on creating an environment that fosters link growth. So this is how we're doing links at the moment, and we're finding it really, really effective. So I'd like to give you a couple of examples in relation to this. So of course, I mentioned before, I do a weekly show, 4 o'clock on Fridays, Tweo, and we're focusing on link fostering there. So that's an example of a couple of shows that we put on. So hosted on Blab. I'm not sure if you've heard of Blab. If you haven't, then really great place to actually host your shows. And number 2 is us doing the show live at the Digital Marketing Show. So why I'm actually showing you a physical show, how can you actually generate links from that? Well, let's have a look. Well, of course, we put replays on our website. So every single week, when a new show goes up, we put a replay on our site, we get the synopsis of the questions covered in the show, but also the transcript as well. If you actually scroll down the page there, and there's a massive transcript, and that, of course, helps with search engine optimization as well. Also, replay pages, if they're published in the right format, and if you're talking about a show that's a video show or an audio show, could be syndicated to iTunes as well, and that's a massive search engine by itself that people can actually find your content. So if you produce content, an audio show or a video show on a regular basis, get it published to iTunes as well, and that can find you new users. And why am I telling you this in relation to links? Well, of course, once your show is published on iTunes, other websites will want to list them, and Other websites like UK Podcasters here, Podcast Chart, Podcastpedia, they're all just examples of people listing the show. But at the same time, if you scroll down, you can see recent episodes, and the recent episodes link back to our main website. And that's the show listings. That's great links that come from these shows. Another way of getting links from the show is the featured guests. So the guests we have on the show, here's a guy that's on the show, Mark Asquith from Excellence Expected, another guy here from Kaizen. That was great to get a link from there as well. Got one from Steve Linney. We've got one from Practice Web. So lots of previous guests there who have been on the show, love the fact that they've been on the show, wanted to share with their audience that they've been in the show, and linked back to the show as well. So wonderful, natural linking there. I didn't ask them at all. They just liked to link back to it because they were pleased to be featured and they were happy with the quality of the content that they shared on the platform as well. Now, there are also some guests that talked about the show but didn't link directly to the show. So with people from Deep Crawl, people from an agency in the States called Paman Marketing, and also Branded 3 as well. So a few other sites as well talked about the show but didn't actually link to the show. You know, perhaps I could give them a call and say, look, we really appreciate if you could make that link. But some will, some won't. But also, the main thing is you can still actually get SEO benefit from this. First of all, you've got your brand citations. So Google's getting clever. Google will realize that they're talking about This Week in Organic and Analytics SEO, so it'll kind of know who they're supposed to be referring to. So we'll get a little bit of credit through that. But of course, they've got their own audience, and that's what I mean by friends of featured guests. So featured guests will publish that. Perhaps the featured guest may not actually link to me, but maybe they've got bloggers who read their sites. So the blogger may refer to this original article, but also refer to our website from there as well. So there's a couple of examples of that where we've happened to receive links because of these friends of friends opportunities. And lastly, in relation to links and the show, social shares. So of course these social shares are sometimes not even links, and all the time they're going to be no follow links as well. However, they may prompt bloggers or other websites to be aware of the show and perhaps link to the show or say they want to be on the show, and that's where social shares can turn into links as well. And that needs to be emphasized with your content marketers. So if you can tell your content marketers, hey, you know, if you can just foster these relationships, you can foster link opportunities, and that's where fostering link building or links rather than actually asking for links, you're asking for content to be shared, or in fact you're producing content that's so great you don't even have to ask. People want to link back to it. So what does this mean for our growth over time? So I've taken off who the websites are. One of the websites are. I'll tell you. The blue one is analyticsseo.com. So that's a gradual growth of links, and that's due to our content publishing. We haven't been focusing on artificially increasing our number of links. All these link growth, this link building, if you want, has come naturally because people have liked the content. So that's a lovely, lovely natural increase in the number of links. It's not a sudden spike, so it hasn't happened artificially at all. And that is actually us compared with one of our competitors out there. And the red one's the competitor. See, that's slowly shrinking there. So slowly wins the race, and that certainly works from a content marketing perspective and from a modern SEO perspective. But how does that translate into keyword rankings? Well, here is the ranking for one of the most hard to rank for keyword phrases that we would actually want to rank for in our marketplace. So you can see going back 6 months ago or so, we're popping in between about number 14 and number 28 or something like that, and hopping up and down there. Google struggling to know where to rank us, probably because we didn't have enough authority for that particular keyword phrase. Now move forward a few months later, we're consistently at something like number 8. I know we could be a lot higher, but consistently at number 8 is a lot better than consistently at number 25 or up and down in that kind of area. And that is just from producing content and getting natural links to the show. We can do things better, of course we can, but that's a wonderful result just from content-focused SEO. And to summarize things, I like to say, make like a big thriving tree. So what do I mean by that? Well, 3 points. Online mentions without links is like a tree falling in the forest without anyone there. So if you get mentions on Facebook, if you got mentions on Twitter especially, unless someone happens to be there at the time, and most people aren't there to actually see a live tweet, then the chances are it's gone. Everyone will forget about that. Links without online mentions are plastic trees. What do I mean by that? Well, links without online mentions are probably artificially created links. They're probably you actually arranging links or paying for links. Hopefully you're not doing that, but if you did, it's very difficult to get the kind of social shares that go along with that at the same time. So you're getting artificially looking links. You're getting artificial trees that you're building there. And number 3, authoritative online mentions and relevant links makes big thriving trees that everyone can enjoy. So that's content success, because you're getting relevant links from people within your industry that are respected in a very related field, and because of that you're getting online social shares from people participating in what you do there as well, and both of them together means real content success and real link success as well. We can get content marketers interested in link fostering by getting them excited about the impact that links have on their content reach. So here are 6 action points that I'd like to leave you with today in my overview of how to get content marketers interested in link building. It's actually fostering. Number 1, go pro with your market understanding. What I mean by that is what we talked about early on. Don't just actually be have acceptance that you're actually focusing on all the areas that are right for your business. Look for your unknown unknowns. Use a big data tool to actually find all your opportunities out there before defining your whole content marketing plan. Number 2, meet up with your content marketers and learn what they do and what their challenges are. Don't force SEO on them initially. Learn what their issues are. And when you do that, when you understand people to begin with, then they'll be more receptive, of course, to what you want to say. And then after that, number 3, take time to understand what their perception of SEO is, then offer to fill in the gaps and challenge misconceptions. They might know quite a bit about SEO, they might not know much. Don't assume anything, and don't start to talk about SEO as if it's a big science. Trying to talk about the end goal of SEO rather than the technical nature of how to do SEO. Number 4, get together and agree on a content marketing calendar that works for both of you. So something that you know is going to be long-term beneficial, focused on short-term, high ROI to begin with, then moving towards your longer-term ROI as well. Number 5, get them excited about the impact that link fostering has on their content. If they're engaged with this, if they really see the impact that links have over time on their content, the fact that it gets more eyeballs to their content, then of course they're going to be more receptive to the fact that link fostering can have significant benefits for what they're doing as well. And then number 6, define job roles. SEO should be a bit more about site positioning, site performance, and keyword targeting now, and content strategy also with the content marketer. And of course, the content marketer should be involved with link fostering as well as actually producing the content itself. So there we go. That completes the webinar today, how to get content marketers interested in link fostering. So if you want to get in touch with me, contact details are on the screen there. I've got the email address david.bain@analyticsseo.com. Thank you very much.